Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you believe that life is wonderful in principle, but for some reason just isn't so consistently in practice? Every life will have its ups and downs. But have you ever thought that if there were only more people around you encouraging, uplifting, and even inspiring you, then life would be more fulfilling? If only people like George and Mary Bailey were in your inner circle, then life could truly be wonderful all the time? If so, we've got good news for you, because you can find such people on this podcast and at zuzunetwork.com. This podcast is the vision of Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu, and Dr. Chris Brunell, illustrating how the timeless message of It's a Wonderful Life can be and is applied to our modern lives and situations. Indeed, when you take that message to heart, your life will become immeasurably more wonderful. Visit us at zuzunetwork.com and listen to this podcast series to learn more about how. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up. In this special episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up, and throughout this season, we'll honor Dr. Leo Buscaglia, affectionately known as the Hug Doctor, by exploring his profound teachings on love, self-acceptance, and positive connection. As we commemorate what would have been his 100th birthday, we'll delve into the impact his legacy continues to have on countless lives. Join us today for some of the poignant stories and reflections from those who were influenced by his work and share in his mission to spread love and hugs to the world. That's today on this very special edition of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
We're pleased to welcome to today's show Lynn Sanders, the founder of Difference Makers Media, story empowerment coach, and author.
And today the topic is Dancing with Tex, the remarkable friendship to save the whooping cranes.
This is an unusual story that you want to hear about.
Yes.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu. All Grown Up.
On today's show, we have a real powerhouse joining us. She's an author, an activist, a media strategist, and so much more. Lynn Sanders of Difference Makers Media joins us today to talk about her latest book, Adventures in Ecuador, Diary of a Volunteer. Lynn is also the author of the children's book, Social Justice, How You Can Make a Difference, and the award-winning bestseller, Dancing with Tex, The Remarkable Friendship to Save the Whooping Cranes, based on a true bird friendship story that saved the whooping cranes from extinction. This is going to be a great episode. Don't go away.
Hi, Lynn. We would love to find out what your
Journey's all about.
Yes, I'd like to first let you know something about myself. My company is Difference Makers Media because I'm very passionate about bringing more positive stories into the world and making a bigger positive difference. I realize that we're all being bombarded by negative media on a constant basis. And that just brings people down because we're all energy beings. We're affected by words, and words can create positive or negative effects. And I have recognized the power of positive stories through my own work. I work with cause-focused leaders, both entrepreneurs and nonprofit organizations, and I've seen how a positive story could attract a six-figure donation from Chicago's mayor for a nonprofit organization in Chicago that I help promote. Or another story that I work with, another nonprofit, they doubled their membership because they got out their positive stories of the good they're doing in the world. A third nonprofit I work with, they attracted thousands of followers to their site through an interview. So we all have choices in our lives of whether we want to bring out positive or negative stories, because we all have our stories. And I choose to bring out positive stories to inspire and empower and uplift others.
Yes.
What inspired you to take this path?
That's a great question, Karolyn. What really propelled me forward to take this path was at the end of 2004, three very special people in my life passed away. A best friend from high school, my mother of a sudden heart attack, and then my former boss, who I love dearly, a composer. And I realized that our time on earth is limited. We only have so much time. And I wanted to bring out positive stories because my mother had written her autobiography for me at my urging, but I only had 8 minutes of her on video. And I was so frustrated because I had been doing videos for all different clients and I didn't have enough of my own mother. So after that, I got my father on camera. And I decided I wanted to focus on difference makers, people doing good in the world. And then it's almost like the universe was listening, I think, to me, and almost as a second nudge to go forward on my path. A few years after my mom's passing, I myself had a near brush with death from a misdiagnosis at a hospital in the emergency room. It was so ironic because I had just finished creating a patient safety fitted film with three of my colleagues called Things You Should Know Before Entering the Hospital. And I learned that medical errors and unnecessary infections in the hospital is one of the leading causes of death. And yet here I was, someone who had written this film, and I was misdiagnosed, but I didn't catch it because one of the lessons I learned was if you are in pain, you don't think clearly, you need an advocate at your side. And unfortunately, my husband wasn't able to think clearly either in the hospital. So I was misdiagnosed in the Colorado hospital with gastroenteritis when I really had a ruptured appendix. And I was planning to fly in an airplane the very next day from Denver to Chicago, and the flight was canceled 3 times at the gate. My rabbi says 3 is an intentional number. And by the 3rd time, I knew I couldn't fly. I was doubled over in pain. I went to lie down on the floor by the gate. My husband called a paramedic, and I was whisked by ambulance to the nearest hospital. And I found out that I had a ruptured appendix. I needed immediate surgery, and luckily I was saved. And during that week stay in the hospital while they had me on IVs, my mother, who was on the other side, came to me in 2 dreams.
Oh.
Yeah, and she sang this beautiful song in one dream. And she used to like to write also. And she took words from the Bible that I didn't even know. She spoke about, this is the day that God hath made, a day to spend with you. And this is the day, a special day for me and you. Yesterday, my troubles lay heavy on my heart, but now it's clear to me where'er we be, we're never far apart. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning. I wrote down the words, and I'm getting goosebumps now. So I know that's her. And I just realized that, we all have connections that are deep from our hearts, and we get to choose what we do with our time here. And I decided, even though I didn't have much of my mother on video camera, I have her spirit with me, and I want to move forward in bringing out stories that will make a difference, that will inspire other people, so we can all together create a positive ripple effect, as you both are doing.
That's really encouraging.
Part of our life as well. And so we love to hear about how you had dreams about your mother, came to you in a dream.
And she's an angel.
She's still affecting others.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
If we're all just open to that idea, more people could be aware of the positive spirits and angels around them, because we all can be given the opportunity for guidance.
If we're open to it, if we're listening.
If we're open to it, right.
Yeah.
So hopefully that story will, if people are open to it, will let them know that they are loved and cared for by angels, and that they can choose to do good.
That is so true.
We have choices.
It is all about choice.
That's so true.
I really chuckled was this relationship with this guy, Tex. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. In 2016, I self-published an award-winning and best-selling children's picture book called Dancing with Tex, T-E-X, The Remarkable Friendship to Save the Whooping Cranes. And this is a true story of a friendship between a man, Dr. George Archibald, co-founder of the International Crane Foundation, and a rare whooping crane named Tex, because she was born in Texas, who believed she was a person. Her brain, it's true, her brain was imprinted on a zookeeper. And so she identified with people, not birds, and she would have nothing to do with any other birds. I heard this story off camera on a video shoot at the International Crane Foundation. And I was interviewing both Amico executives who were sponsoring an whooping crane exhibit. So I interviewed them, and I interviewed Dr. George Archibald, but he didn't mention this until we were off camera. He said, I was friends with a rare whooping crane once, and we danced together for 6 years. And I said, oh, come on. I couldn't believe that. And then by the tone of his voice, I knew he was speaking the truth. He said, really, it's true. So I did research, and I kept in touch with him for quite a period of time to get his story and find out that really this was a true story of a rare bird who was one of the last surviving whooping cranes. There was different estimates, maybe 27 was the lowest number of whooping cranes in the whole world. And George knew that if he could get Tex to lay a fertile egg, then she could potentially hatch a chick, and that chick could hatch other chicks, and it could help save the species. And because she wouldn't identify with other birds, he decided to move his bed, desk, and a chair into Tex's shed so that she would bond with him, and they would do this. They did a mating dance. She basically woke him up early in the morning, and they went out and danced. And then he hired his scientists to give Tex basically, I don't say it this way in the book, but it was artificial insemination. So she got special shots. Just because you dance with a bird doesn't mean you're suddenly going to let the bird have eggs, but the bird got special shots, and it takes time. The bird was older, just like if a woman was older and trying to have a baby, you don't get a baby the first time. And there were a series of challenges that happened where there was an egg that wasn't fertile, and then they tried another time, and a number of times, and she just didn't have an egg until finally he never gave up. That was the important lesson I learned, that he had faith, belief, and perseverance in his dreams. He never gave up, and realized it was during the springtime that he danced. He wasn't doing it every single day of the year. Eventually, she did lay an egg, which was fertile, and it hatched into a chick, and that chick had other chicks, and it helped save the whole species.
Wow.
So I just thought, wouldn't that be a neat story if it was told in the right way for kids to recognize that we all can make a difference? And I have an education background, so even though most of my writing has been for adults, I love writing books for kids because I know they're our next generation, and they need to have inspiration that they can make a difference. And so this book was illustrated by a man named Sergio Drummond. And I went through a journey of what I went through, obstacles to get this book published. And each time I had to think about this as a journey. It's not like a sprint, it's a marathon. So for everyone there, everyone's listening who wants to get a story out into the world, you have to be willing to go through the ups and downs that will come along until you get to the finish line. This book, is so gratifying. We've got many rave reviews, and George was very pleased about it. And it's sold on Amazon, Dancing with Tex, The Remarkable Friendship to Save the Whooping Cranes, and in different bookstores. And hopefully it inspires kids to recognize that we need to take care of our planet and our animals, which continue to be endangered. It's available on Amazon as a hardcover book and paperback and an ebook. And then at the back of the book, what I love to do, because I think I want to give the most to my audience, I added extra educational content. So I put in a page of 15 thumbnail images of all 15 cranes. They're images with their names. There's a section on helpful vocabulary words, a discussion guide, and some essay questions and a picture at the back of the book. And then I also created crowdfunding video. I can send you the link, which has the actual footage that was done by a TV station of George and Tex dancing together.
It was remarkable. He really has some good moves.
He's continuing to be the world's crane ambassador, saving the cranes all over the world because, cranes don't see boundary lines like people do. They don't know one country from another. So they can face danger anywhere in their routes as they migrate. And George has to basically talk to different leaders in different countries to help them preserve their land so the cranes can survive. All our animals have problems of extinction if we don't care for them. And if you look at the world as one planet and we're all, having connections with each other, we all need each other. So by saving one species, you're really helping save many, many other things.
What is your current project that you're working on at this time that you want to see come alive?
I'm so glad you asked me.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Pass it on.
Here's a short quiz. Who won Best Actress last year? Who won the World Series 2 years ago? And finally, name your favorite teacher.
Pass it on.
Now, I'm guessing that the last question was the easiest. Why is that? Because that person made a difference in your life. So, go ahead and make a difference. Because making a difference is in you.
Pass it on.
From PassItOn.com.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris. And check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Are you wondering whether to sell or donate the car you no longer need or want? Consider that. Donating it to a legitimate, legally recognized nonprofit organization, not only will you receive a tax deduction, but you'll be contributing to a worthy cause. Finding a worthy nonprofit organization can be time-consuming and even a bit stressful. I'm here to present to you one of the most amazing, legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organizations in the world. The United Breast Cancer Foundation. The UBCF provides screenings, treatments, aftercare services, educational materials, as well as patient and family assistance. We ask that you help in that mission by donating your unwanted or unused vehicle to the UBCF. Simply call 888-842-5505. The process is fast and easy. Call 888-842-5505. 888-842-5505. Help us in our mission and get a tax deduction. Call 888-842-5505. Thank you for your support.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-683-4655. That's 800-863-4655. 800-683-4655.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and don't have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you don't pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call if you've been injured in an auto accident. Call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Auto Accident Help Desk.
Join Zuzu's network today at zuzunetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at zuzunetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
This Thursday, March 28th, and I know your program will air a little later, but my third children's book will be published and launched. It's called Adventures in Ecuador, Diary of a Volunteer, and it's based on the true story of our family's healthcare mission as volunteers to Ecuador with the nonprofit Causes for Change International. And it's told from the imagined diary of our son. So my husband served as a holistic dentist to kids in need in Ecuador who never had any help, never had a toothbrush, never had any dental help. I was the volunteer musical entertainer because I'm a musician. I got a borrowed guitar and I sang songs with Spanish words and played games with the children while they waited in 90+ degree heat to get their teeth examined or pulled. And our son was the toothbrushing teacher, giving out free toothbrushes and teaching children how to brush their teeth who never did it before.
My goodness.
So I thought, why not let all children recognize how we all have things in common? We all need love and care. And I wanted to document this story into a children's book so that kids would have the understanding of what it's like to be a volunteer. And ultimately, the big goal of my story, Adventures in Ecuador, is to build compassion and kindness and unity and philanthropy among our youth, and to let them know, most of all, that they matter, that their actions matter, and it doesn't matter what their age is. And then I thought of something before our conversation today. I thought the essence of the movie when you played in Karolyn in It's a Wonderful Life, the story, really the lesson is that we all matter, that our lives matter, and we make a difference. And so my passion is really that aligns with that message, is that we all make a difference. Adventures in Ecuador, Diary of a Volunteer has a message of we all matter. We can do good. Even if we're nice to someone in our own town, we make a difference. Dancing with Tex is to show kids that we can take an action that might be out of our comfort zone, like helping out a species or just doing something that would help another person, and it will make a difference. I also wrote my first book, which is owned by Capstone Press, is called Social Justice, How You Make a Difference. And it's a book to teach kids how to start their own nonprofits with profiles of different youth who made a difference. It will be available on Amazon starting Thursday, March 28th, as in both ebook, paperback, and hardcover.
All right.
Oh,
I'll have to.
we'll look for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I would and it's going to be a free ebook for 3 days on March 28th, 29th, and 30th. And just like Dancing with Tex has extra bonuses at the back, I've created bonuses for everyone who gets the book. I interviewed both a woman who I just recommended to you, Celia Alvarado, the founder of Causes for Change. And I put the link of that interview in the back of the book with a volunteer's interview. And I included some information about Causes for Change International, some Spanish vocabulary words that are scattered in the book, as well as photos, because everyone likes to see pictures. So you can actually see photos from our volunteer mission to Ecuador.
How old was your son at the time?
So he was actually in high school and college. We actually went 3 times. This story is just one time. And I want to give a plug to our son, Andrew. He didn't write a diary. I kept notes. But when I wrote this story, I asked Andrew for his help in editing it. And he not only helped me with editing the story, but he helped write the final 3 pages, which are so moving. It makes me cry a bit because of this, what happens in the story. So I can give you a little preview hint if you'd like. For anyone listening, there's a secret special hero in the story who is a real character. So we were asked to collect 1,000 Beanie Babies, which we call stuffed animals, for this trip because the kids didn't have any toys. And so it would be an incentive for the children to go to get their teeth pulled or fixed, that they would get a little present afterwards. And in this story, I have Andrew giving out the toys. Both Andrew and myself gave out toys. But during the collection process, we had to have faith that we could actually gather 1,000 toys before our trip. I didn't think I could do it. I was the one who really had to get those toys. It ended up, we got 1,800 toys.
Wow, double.
By putting out the word, which is to give everyone a lesson that we all can do more than we think we can if we believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
And one of the donations was a little white bear with the name tag Fuzzy Bear. And on his chest was a note with a child's handwritten scrawl that said, "This is Fuzzy Bear. Please take very good care of him." And I thought, oh my gosh, this child loved this bear so much. We have to find a special child to give Fuzzy Bear to. So during the whole trip, Fuzzy Bear is with Andrew, and you're wondering, who is Fuzzy Bear going to go to? And at the very end, Andrew picks out a child at this orphanage. It was our last day. In reality, we were told who to give the child to, the Fuzzy Bear to, but it's okay. Andrew decided, since he wants to empower kids, let the child decide who to give the bear to. And so he did. It was the smallest little girl at the orphanage, and she was very moved, and she hugged us, because it was so meaningful. So I hope that kids everywhere could recognize how important it is just to be giving, because you get so much back in return.
You have done so much. You've given of yourself. You gave him a wonderful gift because he had to feel good about himself and what he was doing. And he had to know that he was making a difference. And that's an encouragement a lot of children never get. And I think it's wonderful that you did that.
I think when you do philanthropy at a young age, it stays with you. He's still like that. I mean, he's the most humanistic young man that you could ever meet. He's vegetarian. But beyond that, I mean, if someone needs help, he will go out and help them. If there's a dog loose, he will find the owner. He just is a loving person who wants to make a difference in whatever way he can. And I think each child, is really affected by those who raises the child, the people. And if those people give children, any parent listening gives your child the chance to do volunteer work, you get so much joy back that you want to do it again. You want to be giving. That's how Andrew is now. And I think that's how most children are when they get involved in volunteering.
That's a mindset that children get exposed to, and a value that generally the parents have and want to share with others. What a wonderful lesson that is for kids.
They become the hero. Andrew was surrounded by so many kids. He was so filled with joy because everyone looked up to him. He was the toothbrushing teacher.
So what is it that you want people to remember? You have so many wonderful projects that you've been working on.
That you've done What do you want them to remember?
Well, I would like everyone to remember that we all make a difference in life, and we get to choose what kind of difference we want to make. We get to choose. And I strongly believe that if you have faith, belief, and perseverance in your dreams, you can make them happen. So choose to make a difference and believe in yourself.
I believe you've been given a special gift, though, and you've taken advantage of that gift, your ability to write, to reach people, your heart that is so full and generous of love. I think you've been given a gift, and you've acted on it. It's very commendable.
Well, Karolyn, I think we all are born here for a reason. I think we all have gifts. And fortunately, I was raised in a very loving home where my parents cultivated our interests and our gifts. And so I think that we're all born here for a reason, and we all have gifts. And it's up to us to look at this earth as a school, a lesson to learn more about ourselves and to discover what makes us happy and what we can do for others. I appreciate your kind words saying that. I love making a difference, and I hope that I can inspire others, as you two are doing, to make a difference and to recognize that we have gifts that we can share as long as we're willing to be open to them.
In part, that's what you're doing, empowering people to find their story and to write about their story. Because everyone does have a unique story that maybe they're not really quite sure what that is. You know, like why are they here on this earth? What is their purpose? And for some people, it's like, oh yeah, no, I want to be a veterinarian when I grow up. I know that's what I want to do. And other people seem to struggle with that.
That is true. And I think it's also we're raising a system, like with schools, you need to have ready answers for tests. We're not always encouraged to really explore what our soul wants to do. I would hope that by people like yourselves bringing out messages, and myself and others, people can start choosing to make a difference by learning more about what would make them happy and then sharing that with others. That's why I named my company name Difference Makers Media. I had a different name before that because I wanted to use positive words. You know, you attract whatever you give out. Your energy attracts like energy. So if you use positive words, this is a tip for everyone, you can attract positive people into your life. If you use negative words, then you're attracting more negative.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
I'm Scarlett Johansson. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. You can join the movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, and advocating. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is an important announcement for anyone who wants health insurance, even if you missed the deadline. Right now, you can get the health insurance you and your family need from top insurance providers, even if you have pre-existing conditions or no insurance at all. The Plus Benefits Health Insurance toll-free number has been extended to help anyone who wants health insurance coverage now, or if you need a better plan or a lower price. Call Plus Benefits Health Insurance now at 800-332-1993. The call is 100% free and the help is real. Call 800-332-1993. That's 800-332-1993.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-288-7088, 888-288-7088. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, NC. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult your financial professional before making an investment decision.
1 out of 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. And the chances are you know at least one person who's been personally affected. But right now, you can help. It's simple. Donate your unwanted vehicle, RV, or trailer to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. It's the easiest way to contribute to one of the nation's leading charitable organizations. The process is fast, easy, and free. Not only will you be helping, but you'll also receive a tax deduction. The United Breast Cancer Foundation offers an array of programs and services that help and support families and individuals dealing with breast cancer. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. Simply give us a call to get started, and we'll schedule a pickup date that is convenient for you. If you have any questions you would like answered before initiating the donation process, please feel free to call us toll-free at 800-324-6218. That's 800-324-6218. 800-324-6218.
Zuzu's book club features recommendations from Zuzu herself on books she loves and thinks you will love also. All of the books that the club reads, fiction and nonfiction, are inspirational and uplifting. Folks, this is a life-enhancing club to be part of. You can sign up for free at zuzunetwork.com/book club. That's zuzunetwork.com/book club. Today's book club selection, Dancing with Tex, The Remarkable Friendship to Save the Whooping Crane, based on a true bird friendship story that saved the whooping cranes from extinction, by today's guest, Lynn Sanders.
This is Zuzu, all grown up.
So my hope is that people will learn to be more conscious of their words, because the words create feelings and feelings create actions, which create results. So let's choose to make a difference with positive words.
Sounds really wonderful. Well, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
I'd love to meet you both. I would really love it. You know, it's wonderful to have the ability to zoom in and meet people from all over the world. There still is nothing like a substitute of giving a person a hug in real life. We're actually thinking of moving to California. We may be moving, and so if that happens, I would love to meet you both. My journey to publish Dancing with Tex had a lot of ups and downs, but the most challenging thing for me at that time, which is above and beyond what anyone could imagine, was our son Andrew had a stroke. He had a stroke during that period when I was working with the illustrator. I was self-publishing it, and I didn't want to give up on the book. Spend the morning at the hospital, and in the afternoon I would come back and work on the book, because it was the one happy thing I could do. And it took me actually 20 years to go from getting the story idea to publishing the book, but I did not want to give up on it. And thankfully, you know, he survived and he's doing well, and he's in school right now getting a master's degree in political filmography. And we have a dog, a beautiful golden doodle that is very devoted to Andrew, who's just the most wonderful pet in the world. So, you know, I just want to share that he, for whatever reason, he had to go through that, and we went through that with him. He never gave up on himself, and we didn't give up.
Well,
I'm sure you gave him a lot of encouragement too. I'm sorry.
you know, through that difficult time that Andrew went through, were there any lessons learned? How precious life can be? How did you?
Yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I just know we all only have so much time. You know, we don't know how much time we have. And there's one thing that stayed with me, that is that we all have love within us, and our spirits never die. And I felt like I got that confirmation from my mother years ago, as I've shared with you, just her coming to me and singing to me. So I think the lesson is that we get to choose what difference we want to make. And I got so much support from many people. And I also urge everyone to capture the stories of your loved ones while you can. I captured my father's stories after my mom's passing, and I have very little of my mother. I'm happy to send you the link later of my 8 minutes professional video footage with my mother and father. It was actually for a client project. And the client was Macmillan Publishing, and they wanted to have short videos of different segments in history. And I was one of the writers. And I suggested, why not get my parents on camera to talk about their lives during the Depression? I had my father talking. We even got an old-fashioned radio to use as a background radio. And my mother was talking about growing up in the Depression. And at the end of the video, which always brought tears to my eyes, she talked about how she decided to name me Lynn after her Uncle Louie, who helped provide money for the family when they didn't have money to pay for the rent. Watch my mother speak on camera with tears in her eyes, saying she never forgot her Uncle Louie's kindness. And because of that, when her first child was born, she named her Lynn. So I advise everyone, capture the stories that are from your families or your own stories while you can, because it's a treasure that goes beyond money, treasure that can live forever, you know.
I guess, history kind of buries a lot of those beautiful stories, those messages that we bring current family and community. It would encourage us because, I think for many people, especially the younger ones, they don't understand or about the Great Depression, and how difficult that was for our forefathers. Yeah, Carolyn's father, he was the manager of a Safeway.
This was after the Depression, kind of, though. It was during the war, and he helped people that were financially struggling by giving them food stamps. And, he would be allotted so many food stamps, and he would give them out to everybody and try to help them. And then he would save some of the close to the end of the line groceries and so forth. And he'd make deliveries and take them to these homes. We lived in LA. I mean, this was in the city, and he knew people who were struggling and who they were, and he would take them. Usually they had a lot of children, and he would take them food. It was about to give not only your means, but also of yourself.
That's so beautiful. My grandmother had said, mark it down in the book. She didn't have the money to pay for food at the grocery store. And at that time, they didn't have these big chains like they have now. They had little neighborhood stores. She said everyone would do that. I guess my mother would say, or my father would say, he remembered his mother saying that, mark it down, like write down how much money she owes the store. So she was able to get food without having money to pay, which is similar to, it sounds like what your father did, Karolyn, bring food to people because they just needed to have the food. So hopefully people can get inspired hearing that to reach out.
In this day, post-COVID, I meet with people daily through doing, psychotherapy. I agree with you. It seems as though I was not very happy about having to do this, at first. I thought, well, that doesn't sound very therapeutic on a television, but I've come to embrace it because it's, reaches people that would not normally be able to get out of the house, maybe due to crippling anxiety, or maybe they were very rural, or multiple reasons. So this is a great medium to bring people together.
Actually, what COVID did for me, this doesn't have to do with my book, but it has to do with relationships, is I have 3 other siblings, and my father has since passed away, but his wife's still alive. And I decided during COVID, because no one lives near me in Illinois, my immediate family, I would start family meetings when we were online through Zoom. So every Sunday, we've still been doing this. Every Sunday, I send a Zoom link to my brothers and sister and Hannah and invite them. And we're pretty consistent. We get together and talk for 30 to 60 minutes and just share what's going on in our lives. My brothers, one's in Florida, one's in Boston, and my sister's in Florida. Hannah's in Florida. So I'm in Illinois, and I would rarely get to see them. Everyone listening could do that if they wanted to, because Zoom also lets you have a free subscription. One thing I want to say, I think it's really important for people to realize the impact of kindness. The reason I say that is last year I was given a beautiful sympathy card. It was 2 years ago, I think, when my father passed away. There are subscriptions to services. I belong to the service Mailbox Power, where you can send custom cards for any occasion, including birthdays. And I've gotten so many positive comments when I send out cards, just to let people know I appreciate them, because people don't do that anymore. We don't send out cards. We just send emails, and people don't even call as much. I'd recommend, if people were to think about taking a little time, like on a weekend, and calling out to someone, that would be a really nice thing to do.
Could you talk a little bit more about that? Because I can see myself falling into the same trap.
Right. Well, my mother used to, believe it or not, when she would visit, she'd open up her address book at my kitchen table on Sunday, and she would start calling relatives just to say hi. I don't think too many people do that. So she felt like she wanted to have more of a loving circle around her by calling cousins. I would recommend anyone listening, think about those people you know in your life who happen to be alone, who are seniors or just by themselves. You can make a call. Mailbox Power is the service I use. If you use mailboxpower.com/Lynn Sanders, it's an affiliate link. You'd be connected with my link. You don't have to, but it's a great service where they will send out cards automated. I'll send you this link afterwards, and you can create the card. They have templates, and it says, insert name. You can upload custom pictures, whether it's a sympathy card or a birthday card, and write poems. So I've been doing that, and people just love getting a card that makes them happy. And it's not that expensive, really. And then, so the service sends out also postcards. They'll send out lots of postcards. People do it for business. I mainly just do it for personal and business, but mainly for personal relationships.
So if people want to learn more from you,
I would recommend going to my website is differencemakersmedia.com. You can opt in for a free story strategy guide, and you can also have a complimentary strategy call with me. You can book time from my website. Just click on the contact page. And I would love to help you bring out your stories, because I believe strongly that the world needs more positive stories. We've got too many negative stories. So please bring out your positive stories. You can go to differencemakersmedia.com and get my free guide and have a free chat with me. And let's do good together.
All right.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
What a great time today with our friend Lynn Sanders. You're listening to Zuzu, All Grown Up. We'll be right back.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory. Now here's Seth Kennedy with today's parting thoughts.
Today, I leave you with a quote from our guest, Lynn Sanders. Keep your dreams alive. With faith, hope, and perseverance, you can make your dreams come true. Make your dreams come true.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out ZuzuNetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to zuzunetwork.com/transcripts. Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joelle.
A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.